somehow I've been at my job 6 months now. It literally still feels like I'm in my first month. It's crazy. So I'm Eleanor. I'm a marketing and PR assistant at Books UK in the children's division. I came from Bloomsbury. I was working as a production assistant. I was there for just under 2 years. I moved because I was made aware of the opportunity arising from the most senior you could get of the company, and I still remember to this day that message on LinkedIn, and I wouldn't take it back. I wouldn't ever change that. Marketing and PR is something that I knew that I wanted to do when I was at Bloomsbury, and I don't think that was a secret. It's much more me, it's much more creative, it's much more personable, it's much more social, so definitely more for me. I think I did a video like this when it had just been my 2 weeks, so I kind of just wanted for me to express how it's been and for you guys to see what it's like inside as well, you know, behind the scenes of the publishing life that I do other videos on. Yeah, what it's been like in my first 6 months. So in terms of the transition, I don't think it's been a secret to say that I struggled. I really find it hard to deal with change, and moving job especially is a big change for me. I think, so I had previous experience because I did an apprenticeship with Bloomsbury. So I, for 10 months, worked basically like 1 day a week with the marketing and PR department. So I had very basic admin experience, things like press releases, NetGalley, pitching to media and bloggers, a lot of PR heavy, I would say. And so I kind of went in, I think, a bit naive because I thought that I am, you know, I'm fantastic, and, you know, I have a great skill set, and I think that this is where I'm meant to be, but I think it was an initial shock to how different the workload was going to be compared to at Bloomsbury. It's also an adjustment because I was in a much bigger company, whereas Bonnier is much smaller. Adjustment in a good way though, I think. So I came from a team of like 30 people, now moved to a team of about 5, which is really nice because it's basically really intimate. You get to know the people a lot more, you have more of a connection. I feel like I can talk to them anytime. We're in communication every single day. So overall, I much prefer working at a smaller company. I loved working at Bloomsbury, and people know that, but I do love working at Bonnier. There's pros and cons to it all. Like, there's pros working to a big company, there's pros working to a smaller company. I feel like when I was having initial chats with internal people before I started, you know, they were sort of saying like, if you want to make a change, it can happen, and it's very much like, it just feels a lot less corporate and more like a big family. So in terms of the office, so the office is this stunning building that looks like a 5-star hotel. I did an office tour of that as well, so I'll link it down below so you can watch that afterwards. The office is stunning, it's new, they moved sort of just a month before I started. It's in Bloomsbury Square in the Holborn area in London. We have the 4th floor of this company, so the building is owned by a company called Labs, which makes us a Labs member, so we have access to the gym, their free drinks, that kind of thing, like all the pros. But our floor is fantastic as well. Like, we obviously have books everywhere, we have really nice meeting rooms, kitchen, free biscuits and all that kind of jazz. And then we obviously have like a hot desking situation because we're only in 2 days a week as a requirement. So the way it's split for us is the adults division go in on a Monday and Wednesday, and the kids division we go in on a Tuesday and Thursday. Initially I thought I would prefer it consecutive days, but actually I really like that gap in the middle and breaking it up. You can go in 5 days a week, you can switch it up a bit, they're really flexible, but essentially we're only required to go in 2 days a week. For me, this is really useful because going back to 5 days a week I think would knacker me out, because I commute from Kent, and so I normally have to wake up a lot earlier, I get home a lot later, whereas when I'm working from home I get that better kind of quality of life and external free time. However, pros to going in the office, I get to see the team. It's really helpful from a learner's point of view. As an entry-level assistant, I learned so much from hearing other conversations to just dipping into meetings that I wouldn't have normally done from working from home. And yeah, you obviously get to see people and you get to be in London, which I'm not used to. So what have I actually been doing? I think that as with any job and any kind of like new position that comes up, it does change over time. There's things that I was doing at the beginning that I'm doing less so now, and vice versa. Some things I'm doing more of now. So I kind of break my role up into a few different areas. So I have the marketing, which is where I assist on marketing and campaigns. Publicity, where I assist on publicity campaigns. I have my own campaigns that I'm really lucky to have started a couple months ago. And then because I'm an assistant, I have the kind of like general admin stuff. First thing with marketing that I started doing when I joined is creating assets. I had experience, I create all my thumbnails on Canva, however at work I tend to use Photoshop. This is a skill that I'm so glad I now have, and I'm by no means an expert, but it's something that I find really enjoyable. I can be really creative and create these fun assets for our books. If you don't know what assets are, they're basically just like pictures, videos, GIFs, like digital digital material, if you like, about our books. Speaking of digital, one of the things I do is I flag our digital deals. So every month we have a report that gets sent round to say these ebooks are 99p, these audiobooks are on sale, and I create some assets, schedule the tweets, and basically flag to all of our audience that you can get all of these for a lot cheaper. Another part of my job in marketing is ads. So this is something that I'm very, very new to, and it's going to be such a transferable skill. It's setting up ads with social channels such as TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Amazon. This is something that I'm still, as I said, very new to, and it's very much more of the analytics side of marketing. So you're looking where you've spent the money, where it's performed best, what kind of audience works best for that book. The next thing I do is newsletters. So we have the Hotkey newsletter, which is our teen and YA imprint. We tend to flag any giveaways, any things that are on deal, anything that's now available to request on NetGalley. And then something that we're recently starting up is the Teachers and Librarians newsletter. So this is self-explanatory, our target audience for kind of like the younger books or more educational books, and it's where we're going to be flagging some resources, some teaching resources, some giveaways, some bookmarks and things to win like that, as well as winning things like events, like author events, so getting one of our authors to go chat to a class at school. Social media is a key part of marketing, so I'm constantly scheduling tweets on our third-party software, getting things in advance and flagging any seasonal promotions. Even that, like at the beginning, was quite a lot to learn. I felt like that was almost overwhelming, overthinking what words I was using, emojis, I was using hashtags and stuff, whereas over time it does become a lot more natural. And I think with the style of each individual and each imprint, it really differs in terms of like what you put out there as well. I think it's really kind of like subjective in a way. Another thing that is part of marketing is we work with external media companies. So these are people that might promote things, do giveaways for us, they might create some resources for us. It really does depend on the actual company. I can't really say for definite what each of them do, but so part of my job is kind of like attending meetings with them, providing them with files, anything like that. Kind of moving on to the social media point, TikTok is a thing that has massively increased in the publishing industry as of late. So we have the Hotkey Books TikTok channel, which my amazing manager runs, and she does all the content for. However, we're excitingly setting up a new project, which is TBC, so watch this space. So I will be sharpening up my TikTok skills. So let's move on to publicity. So as I said, I'm a marketing and PR person in publishing, so part of my job is marketing, part of it is publicity. For me, I don't have a preference. I switch day to day. Sometimes I prefer marketing, sometimes I prefer PR. I love both equally. So one thing on publicity is events. So this can be author events, this can be festivals, this can be class visits, really anything, book signings, and it is probably one of the most exciting parts of publicity. I've literally only been to a few, and some of them have been digital and stuff, but I know the excitement. I've always loved kind of like the events management side of things, even when I was in college, and so this is a really fun part of publicity. It means you get to meet authors and illustrators and schools and children, that kind of stuff. So a very exciting part of the job. So it's liaising with the venue, it's making sure there's books available for people to buy on the day, booking transport for the author, booking hotel rooms for the author, all the kind of like logistics part of it, as well as flagging on social media that this is happening, buy your tickets here. Similarly with events, you can do things like blog tours, which I've done a few now, and I'll be doing more throughout the year. So this is essentially a period of time where we send some reviewers the book, and on a certain date they will post their review of the book. They can also host extra material such as early sketches, a Q&A, anything like that with the author. I did a whole other video as well about organising a blog tour for the Ivory Key by Shire Rahman in January, so link that down below, check it out afterwards. Publicity is growing awareness of our titles. So one of the things that I do, for example, is sending the bookseller previews of all of our books. So it's sending them the details, the PDFs, and this happens with other companies as well, different media wanting to know what we have out. So a lot of my job in publicity is basically pitching, sending files, sending covers, sending physical books, and hoping that they enjoy them as much as we do. Similar to marketing, publicity also has newsletters. So as opposed to marketing their hours and newsletters, we determine the content and the outreach. With publicity, it's external newsletters. So it's things like the SCBG, the SLA, and the YLG. A lot of the time it's librarians, and so we're flagging any titles that we have, offering them an exclusive giveaway, things like that. A big part of publicity is research as well, researching the correct bloggers that are going to want to post about picture books. It's researching mental health outlets so that we can pitch one of our books that features mental health in it. It's researching podcasts that are going to want to talk to the author of the book. It's a lot of researching, finding out the correct outlets, finding out the person finding out the correct contact for that, a lot of research. Another key part of publicity or PR is NetGalley. This is an online review site where readers, librarians, booksellers, educators can request titles that we as publishers put out there for them to read. They're always e-PDFs, and sometimes you get samples of audiobooks as well, but we tend to just do the PDFs. So what I basically do in PR is determine what titles we're going to put on NetGalley, because we have a limited amount. I put the title on there, I get the marketer to flag it on socials to say this is now available to request. They could be creating assets for that to say with a round or now on NetGalley. And then it's actually accepting the request, so seeing people's criteria, how often do they leave feedback, are they likely to review this once we give them free access to it. And NetGalley kind of does link it to marketing as well, because if people, for example, have requested the title but it's now been published and we didn't accept their request at the time, we can have their contact details and we can say this is actually out now and you can buy it here. Now, a massive part of publicity is mailings. So this is the more practical side of the job. It's literally printing out a press release, which is like all the information on that book, folding it up with the book, sending in any extra bits if we have it, sending it to people, franking, writing the addresses. It's a very kind of practical, systematic, tedious kind of job, to be honest, but I don't mind doing them. It's all part of the job. It's all part of the job. It's when you have like 100 that you have to do within a short time frame that it becomes more kind of stressful. Another part of PR is awards. So when you see, it's longlisted for this award, it's shortlisted for this, it won this award, that's us in PR. We tend to see what awards there are out there. We check the deadline for them, check what's required. Do we need to send them PDF and physical copy? Do we need to have a note from the editor to explain why they should win the award? And these external award organisations will then read and decide on the winners, contact us if they're longlisted, shortlisted or winners. It's an essential part of the publicity and sales teams because it helps us sell the books more. It gives it more credit, it gives it more validation of why it's an excellent book, and it's something for us to shout about on socials. So moving on to the admin side, if we work with external media companies, if we work with influencers, anything like that, if they're going to send us an invoice, I process them. So we code them against the title so that we stay in budget per title, using our online software to process it correctly. It's more of an admin side, it's more of the expense marketing side. Mailings, as I said, sometimes it won't be like my title, sometimes it'll be for marketing, sometimes we're sending it straight from the warehouse, but organising mailings is kind of like the assistant side of it as well. I also do things like creating our campaign documents. We tend to have a document per title that we're publishing that month. That's the place that we can put in the budget, the plans, any notes, any evidence, any coverage, things like that. So it's basically the assistant's job to create them and circulate them with the team. There are other things I do as well as an assistant, but it's very ad hoc. When it's a member of the team that needs help very quickly, sending files, whatever it may be, that usually falls to the assistant as an entry-level position. But more excitingly, I get to work on my own campaigns as well. It tends to be some of our smaller titles, but essentially I get rein on what we're doing on social media, who we're sending it to in terms of influencers and bloggers, collating any reviews, updating the editors and what's happening with it. It's very exciting. It feels really like a really creative part of the job. I can really get stuck into the book. I really feel like a sense of pride if I get any like good reviews for it. I get to be really creative, create all my own assets on Photoshop, connecting with bloggers and really kind of like boost this as much as possible. And as my career progresses as well, I'll be working on more of these and assisting the team with their bigger ones as well. But that's definitely a perk of the job. So I've definitely been busy. I've definitely learned an awful lot. Like I use so many different systems now, such as Biblio, Concur, The Room, Workday, Workplace, Photoshop. God, there are so many, I couldn't list them all. But yeah, so I've learned so much in terms of actual systems. I've learned so much about the process of marketing, the process of publicity, how tiering and budget can affect a campaign, what's needed in order to drive sales. I attend so many meetings now as well, which is really helpful for a learning point of view. So overall, a very interesting job. Like for me personally, I just literally can't pick anything, and I've said this before, I can't pick anything that I don't like about the job. There are obviously, with any job, there are some days where it seems a bit more tedious and you're working on more exciting things than others, but generally every part of the job I enjoy doing and it's very me, and yeah, it's very good. I think the only thing with me at the moment is I still feel very new. Like it's 6 months, which it feels like that I should have been doing so much more and achieved so much more in that time. And granted I have, and looking back at my goals with my manager and stuff, I have been achieving everything that's been expected of me. But I think my personality, I tend to want to do more than it's expected, and I think that it's a very busy team and there's a lot of titles to work on, that sometimes there isn't that space to do more and prove myself more, which I think just on a personal level I struggle with. I mean, my manager is fantastic at helping me both emotionally, mentally, and career progression wise. I think health wise I haven't been fantastic, which does impact the job unfortunately, but I'm definitely on the mend, and yeah, lots more to do, lots more to achieve, lots more to work on. Do consider following my Twitter as well if you want to see some of the things that we're working on. I'll try and film as many like behind the scenes videos and stuff as I can, so you can stay up to date with what it's like behind the scenes of working in marketing and PR. That's me. I've been here 6 months now, told you a bit more about the actual job. If there's anything that you want more like clarity on what that actually means, let me know in the comment section down below. Obviously we'll be happy to do a video about it. Equally, if you have any other suggestions on what you want to see videos on, let me know, and hopefully see you in the next one. Bye!